second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? No questions, all in favor? Motion carries. All righty. All right, we're gonna move to ordinance A, first reading. Carrie?
Ordinance to amend the compensation schedule and pay rates.
I'll move
A
it.
motion on that?
Second.
I move it.
Moved by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Glavin. Okay, that's our first reading.
First Lawrence, second Glavin.
Okay, ordinance B.
Ordinance to approve a zoning map amendment for a change in zoning from RS10 low-density single-family residential to neighborhood business for property located at 12409 Lorraine Road.
That was moved by Mr. Lawrence, second by Ms. Newman. Mr. Lawrence?
I'll turn it over to Nathan since he was gone last week. I moved it in your honor there, Nathan.
We didn't, was there any opposition? I know that we received one letter during the planning commission hearing, but other than that, has there been any opposition from the residents?
No, sir, and originally the request was to change it to RB, which I would have expected the room to be full of people, because RB opens the door for a lot of things. But when it was reduced to NB with conditional use recommendation from the planning commission, it takes it back down to that zoning that's good next to neighborhoods.
Yeah. Now, the only other question I have is any of this property in a flood zone or wetlands?
The property to, I guess, to the west of it is there, but they're only talking about developing a small portion on the east property line to build a.
But where they're developing nothing?
No, it's
Okay.
not.
I have no opposition.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Newman? Okay, anyone else on the council? Okay, I'm gonna call for the question. All in favor? Okay, 7-0. Motion carried. Ordinance C, Carrie?
Ordinance to approve a zoning map amendment for a change in zoning from agricultural to neighborhood business for property located at 4267 Ray Wise Drive and an unaddressed parcel fronting Ray Wise Drive.
That was moved by Mr. Glavin, second by Dr. Tisdale. Mr. Glavin?
Yeah, again, I'd like to note, on the agenda, it notes Ward 1. This is actually in Ward 6. Jerry, you want to go into some of the details? And I see Ms. Gallagher's here if she wants to come up and say a few words.
Okay. Yes, sir. This is a piece of property just before you get to Highway 15 off of New I-110. This is perfect for neighborhood business zoning. The Gallaghers are wanting to move their computer business from Gulfport to Biloxi, and the NB zoning is perfect for what they're asking for.
Okay. Ms. Gallagher, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. My husband and I have had this company for 27 years, and we have outgrown Gulfport. We've moved to Ocean Springs, but we have an office there as well. But we want to actually combine and build a building in Biloxi. We feel that that's the best option for us, and with the growth that we've seen going up 67, that's what we're wanting to do. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I have no further questions. We're excited you made the move, to Biloxi, and
Right.
welcome you. We'll support you any way we can.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Glavin. Dr. Tisdale?
I have nothing to add to that. Thank you.
Okay, anything else from any of the council members? Call for the question. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carries. Okay, resolution D.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize the establishment of a convenience store with gas sales for property at 2790 Beach Boulevard.
That was moved by Mr. Glavin, second by Mr. Dimon. Mr. Glavin?
Yeah, and again, I want to reiterate, we debated this extensively when it came up before the council and talked about the different elements of this project. I want to thank the developers, Mr. Stinson and his partners, for not only taking the time to ask for an extension to give more time to review this project and come back with a proposal that kind of meets some of the concerns we had. So I just want to get that into record. Thank you for taking that extra time.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Mr. Deming?
I don't really have any more to add to what Mr. Glavin said. glad we have something going there. Some don't think it's the best use of that space, but I think arbitrarily that's irrelevant, and I'm glad we're doing something. I know you guys develop great projects, so I look forward to seeing what you guys finish out there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deming. Anyone else on the council? Dr. Tisdale?
Yes, Mr. Stenson puts out a great product. I ate at a lot of his, several of his restaurants. The food's always great. I look to tell you hello, but you're a busy man. However, that being said, I just hate to see a gas station convenience store at this location. That's it. I believe there's probably enough support on the council that it'll be approved based on the comments we heard in previous meetings. I just don't think there's a compelling need for a gas station and a liquor store. I'd love just another restaurant, huge restaurant, lots of good, fresh, healthy food that you put out.
Thank you. Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of gas stations myself, but you know, Rob Stinson, I'm just hoping somehow or another you wind up with a restaurant back there somewhere or somewhere along that piece of property. If you stay involved, I'm gonna support this because of you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Otherwise, I'd vote against this in a heartbeat. Because you always put out first-class product and you stay with it. Salute days, all of them, they're great, and they all fine, and people all welcome to go, and it's always safe and everything terrific. So I'm voting for you this time. Don't let me down.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't know we get to really pick and choose. Can somebody please tell the 2 coffee shops that announced that they're going to be right down the street from me that there's enough coffee shops around here? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barrett?
I think something that we have to remember here is there is already an approval for a gas station to go at this location. What they have brought to us is a much better plan than what is already approved to go there. The liquor store, that doesn't even come to us. That's something that's a use by right. It's already zoned correctly. All they have to do is draw it up and get those plans approved by DRC. And so what y'all brought to us, is a better plan than what is already on the table, replacing with, already mature trees. And like the other council has said, y'all's reputation supersedes itself. So I have no problem at all supporting this.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Anyone else? Go ahead and call for the question. All in favor of D? Okay, 1, 2, 3. All against? Just one, Dr. Tisdale. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Okay, we're going to move on down to Resolution E.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize the establishment of a 2,500 square foot metal building to include outdoor storage for property at 12409 Lorraine Road.
Okay, I need a motion on it.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Barrett. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Newman. Mr. Barrett?
This is it's the same deal we just.
It's a landscape contractor office, and the conditions that were put on it, this area, the area that they're building is like down a driveway that's wooded in the front, and the conditions that were placed on it by the Planning Commission is that they would build it so that if that growth was ever removed from the front, that it would be attractive and all of their equipment would be screened from public view.
We just want to make sure that this doesn't turn into the same situation that happened at that other place on Old Market Road where we approved a building to go up and it ended up being a lay down yard and a storage yard that looks like garbage.
Yes.
But I have no problem with it as long as they do what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Okay,
That makes,
go ahead. Ms. Lawrence?
Nathan, you saying what? What happened to the other one?
So we gave a conditional use approval for a piece of property that is, at that time was in Ward 7, that's now in Ward 6, that's a similar situation to this.
It was a zoning change.
And
Zoning change. Now, that case is going to be coming before the city council. It went to court last Wednesday, and because they've changed it over to what is considered a laydown yard or a storage yard, then that requires conditional use, and that conditional use will be going to the Planning Commission and the City Council.
so they were basically supposed to build a building to put all their equipment and stuff in, and they used it as a big storage yard that looked like garbage. And so Over the few years, we've been able to get them to court and hopefully correct the situation. But anyway.
Is there anything, well, Jerry, is there anything we can attach to this to stop that? What he's talking about, what happened?
Well, if,
And
I
there's something
mean,
we could do?
in this case, I mean, they would get no business license, no certificate of occupancy or anything until this is actually done.
Okay.
Now, if the council approves this, it's gonna have to come back to DRC where they would submit their civil engineered plan for what they're gonna do. And then, we'd issue them a permit to go build it. But, I don't think this will be a case, I get a totally different feeling from these people that they need this office space and that they'll do what they say they're gonna do. But there again, it's conditional use. If they don't do it, the city council can revoke it.
That's what I'm just saying. If
Yeah.
Nathan wasn't comfortable with them changing something, that's what just, we could put something in place to stop it from that's happening.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking you.
If they get out there and they do not build what they say they're gonna build, then I'll bring it back to the planning commission and the council to revoke the conditional use permit.
All right?
I got a
Okay,
couple of
Mr. Glavine?
comments. Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm with Nathan. How do we, I mean, is there anything else we can add or modify to this to ensure that it doesn't go sideways? Because one of the other things we had to do was hire an officer in Jerry's office to be able to issue the warrants properly, because the other warrant had expired, and we're in this mess off of, I mean, it's in a mess. Now we were in court, and they're continuing, it looks, to bring riffraff and just dump it on this property. How do we actually be able to do it? Is there anything else we can do to add verbiage to this?
Okay, this is the Corley property, the one that they're using for a
Correct.
construction place, and then we got Hickman's. Hickman's, I'm working with Terry Steele on. I've sent her all the documentation she needs, and we're supposed to talk again this week about the next step to get that shut down. On this one, it went to court. There was a meeting. The judge heard the case. There was a meeting of our attorney and their attorney, and trying to find some way to make this work. And so I told our attorney, I said, they're not using it for a construction office, they're using it for a lay-down yard up there. Is that something that's allowed in RB zoning? Well, yes, it is, but it requires conditional use approval from the planning commission and the council. So the agreement is that they would go to the planning commission and the council.
All right, those two cases aside, this one that was on the agenda today, what prevents them by doing the same thing and just say, I'm gonna go lay stuff all over the ground? What can we do to prevent that in this
Well,
case?
the leverage you have is that you have the ability to revoke that conditional use permit.
As we did on the other one, on the Corley property, but they still,
The Corley property was not a conditional use, it was a zoning change.
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So they gotta do this step one before they can get the permit. Corley got the permit, and then they said they were gonna do something they didn't
That's
end up
correct.
doing. I got you. Okay, thank you.
Thank
No
you,
other
Mr.
questions.
Glavine. Is there anyone else? Okay, call for the question. All in favor? Okay, 7-0, motion carried. Resolution G, Gary?
Resolution adjusting compensation for Chief Administrative Officer.
Okay, resolution F. Moved by Mr. Lawrence,
Second.
second by Mr. Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. Resolution G.
Resolution adjusting compensation for Director of Public Works.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Dr. Tisdale? Yes. Okay. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. H.
Resolution adjusting compensation for Director of Community Development.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Lawrence, second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. Number I.
Resolution adjusting compensation for Director of Parks and Recreation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lawrence, second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? All in favor? All against? Two?
No, no.
One? Okay, one. Motion carries. Resolution J? Resolution J? Kenny was the only one against it.
I got it. Resolution adjusting compensation for Director of Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lawrence, second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0. Motion carried. Need a motion on the consent agenda?
Before we get to consent agenda, I'd like to bring up something, hand this to the mayor.
Okay,
We just-
we're past that
Well,
portion of it.
But we hadn't done the consent either.
I
We're in
know,
La La Land.
I know,
Remember that.
but I'm putting a motion on the table now.
I have to do that. So we're in La La Land.
Are you finna
Okay.
go backwards? We can't go backwards.
Not going
We only go
backwards.
forward.
I'll make a statement about what we just did.
I
I'm not
know.
going backwards.
But you make that motion when I say you have any questions or that's when you do that part. So we got to move forward. God bless you. Felix Navidad.
That'll work.
I need a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Lawrence. Second by Mr. Glavin. Was that you, Mr. Glavin?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, George, now you can talk.
We talk about it. There's something I wanted to ask them.
Start at the other end.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Baird, I'm gonna give you a chance to start.
I have nothing.
None. Mr. Glavin?
I have none.
Dr. Tisdale?
On item B, just a settlement of a claim, and just a brief three-word explanation, if possible. Was it an injury or a vehicle accident or?
It was a personal injury claims made, and there was a federal court settlement conference last week.
All right, thank you. And on item N, this is a grant match agreement with Main Street for the How Hop. You need to patent that, register that, three-peat How Hop. Are there particular projects that Main Street has in mind, or we have in mind working with Main Street?
Yeah, well, when they had the Main Street gathering in this room, it made some suggestions. There were some suggestions about, the look and feel of that whole area, as well as the signage, and so those kinds of things. I think this is going to match up with a $50,000 grant from the night, and so to do the design and do part of the implementation, I think this will get a long way down the road with the support on this act. But yeah, it's to dress up that whole part of Howard Avenue.
So that it's jumping, not just on the first
Hopping,
Fridays.
hopping.
That it's how hopping.
How hopping.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Deming? Okay, Ms. Newman?
Nothing.
Mr. Lawrence again.
Yeah, what is, N, what are we talking about, a voiceover machine with an IP
Yeah,
service?
changing the phone systems that save us some money with regard to the sets we have across the city. A change in the hardware and software to sort of unify the communications within the city.
What we do, have we done anything with this setup we have in here? These
No,
mics?
this is telephone and
No, I'm
data.
just saying, have we done
Yeah,
with this, where the mics work and they stay in?
some of them work, some of the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
well, that's what I'm saying. You
my
said you were gonna
intent-
fix all this.
Well, anyway, yeah, we've got some plans to upgrade things that need to be upgraded.
Put the plan in effect.
Okay?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. And I also have no objections. I'm gonna call for the questions. I'll take the exceptions afterwards. All in favor? Okay, what is it, 6-0? Mr. Lawrence, you have any objections?
None.
Any of them? Ms. Newman? Mr. Deming? Dr. Tisdale?
Not a thing, thank you.
And Mr. Glavin?
No.
None.
Oh,
Okay, motion carries.
I do have to abstain from one.
Which one?
Same.
Okay, speak it up so you can hear it.
Which
Ms. Newman, which one?
Same one.
What number was it? What number was it, Mr. Nimmin? F. Both of them F. She abstained and he, yeah.
Same.
Okay, and motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move on to code enforcement hearings. Ms. Creel?
Okay, item A on the agenda, Days Realty LLC, 148 Pine Street. That case has been resolved. Item B, My T Long, 359 Bowen Street. That case has been resolved. Item C, Square One Properties and Construction, 240 Benaki Avenue. That case has been resolved. And item D, War Properties LLC, 0 Bayview Avenue. Mr. War called and asked for some additional time, and I told him I would request 30 days from the council.
I move 30 days.
Okay, moved by Mr. Lawrence, second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. Need a motion on the routine agenda? Moved by Mr. Lawrence,
Second.
second by Mr. Glavin. George?
We have an update, Walt, on any of the money we received?
Good afternoon, council. Good to see you all here after the Christmas holidays. No updates, other than we still have the 1.2 million. It's in what they call step 3 of 5 with MEMA. It's been there about 7 days. If it doesn't move out of that step in the next day or two, I'll make a call up there and see if we can get it moving. We should have it by the second council docket in January.
So we staying up to date?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other council member? Call for the question. All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. Need a motion to adjourn for the rest of the
Mr.
year.
President?
Yes, sir.
Can I make that motion to adjourn out of respect in the memory of Wendell Pruitt?
Absolutely.
Who passed away, I believe, yesterday.
Ooh, okay.
So out of respect for Mr. Pruitt, I'd like to make that motion to adjourn in his memory.
We all
Okay,
second.
motion by Mr. Glavin, will second by everyone. All in favor? 7-0, motion carried. Happy New Year, everyone.